Recently, Boris Prilutsky received an invitation from the Russian Academy of Sciences to read a series of lectures in Russian medical and sports massage. The reason why the Russian Academy of Sciences was interested in the Russian medical massage was the following. The science of Russian medical massage was originally developed by Professor Anatoly Sherbak in the 1930s. In the 1950s, his development were expanded by German scientists Dr. Glaser and Dr. Deliho. Later, in the 60s and 70s, many scientists of the former Soviet bloc countries contributed to this development. They were, for instance, Soviet scientists like Professor Dembo, Professor Popelansky, the Bulgarian scientist Professor Ivanov, and many more. Yet little or close to nothing of the medical massage was known in the West. Although the large research institutions were involved in the medical and sports massage studies, their development were kept in strict secrecy. The secrecy was guaranteed by KGB and was overseen personally by the influential member of the Central Communist Committee, Comrade Suslov. The reason for such secrecy was obvious. The Soviet propaganda always tried to portray the Soviet system and Soviet way of life as far superior to the one adopted by the West. They even came up with the myth of a special new Soviet person, carrier of the advanced Soviet mentality, which allegedly was far superior to a mentality of a Western person. In order to somehow substantiate this myth, the Soviet propaganda utilized any Olympic sports and the dominance of the Soviet bloc athletes, especially of the USSR and Eastern Germany, during the Olympic Games in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Although the notion about the dominance of the Soviet bloc athletes was only partially correct, what was amazingly true indeed was the athletic longevity of the Soviet bloc athletes compared to their Western counterparts. The vast majority of the Soviet bloc athletes were competitive for 10 to 15 years. Perhaps the best example of this longevity was the Soviet triple jumper Viktor Saneyev, who won this discipline in 1968, 1972, 1976, and was a silver medalist in 1980. The huge factor of Saneyev's athletic longevity was the absence of knee and ankle traumas, which, considering the tremendous loads that triple jump imposes on knees and ankles, is simply unprecedented. The real secret of such longevity was the elaborate system of pre-event and post-event sports massage and the proper warm-up procedure, a sequence of special exercises including neuromuscular re-education and post-isometric relaxation that made sure that all the muscles of the responsible region work in assembly in the neurological sense. Such powerful scientifically based methods made sure that joints are stable enough to withstand huge competitive loads. All that changed during the time of Gorbachev's perestroika, restructuring of the Soviet economy, and subsequently during the time when the Soviet system has fallen apart. The scientific institutions that for decades were supported financially by the Soviet government, regardless of their actual profitability, were suddenly left without any fundings and thus quickly disintegrated. The impressive body of knowledge accumulated by decades of arduous work by talented scientists was literally abandoned. That's why, paradoxically, the only people who could carry the torch of knowledge in the Russian medical and sports massage were those who have immigrated from the Soviet Union prior to perestroika. One of those rare top echelon people who were educated, trained in secrets of Russian medical massage, and work exclusively with elite athletes under the Soviet system was Boris. Boris truly is the last of the Mohicans in Russian medical and sports massage. In his video encyclopedia, the 12-volume DVD set, and the upcoming 7-volume of Self-Treatment for Sports Injuries DVD set, Boris covers almost 60 topics of the entire medical scope of practice. As you can imagine, All the methods that Boris presents on his DVDs are not just some random hodgepodge of massage movements, but a result of systematic scientific research of many decades by international scientists, clinically tested on the elite Soviet bloc athletes. In his upcoming DVDs, Boris teaches sports enthusiasts how to prevent sports-related injuries, and if they would sustain them, how to self-treat them timely, inexpensively, and with minimum side effects. In addition, Boris is also working on creation of self-stress management and tension headaches DVDs that will teach the general public the most effective methods of preventing stress-related diseases like heart attacks, strokes, anxieties, clinical depression, high blood pressure, diabetes type 2, etc.